1989, Sky challenged the way television was perceived in Great Britain. In a blaze of publicity, Sky's new style of broadcasting made its debut. In a world of change and technological innovation, the Sky satellite network presented a choice of television programming that just got better and better. In satellite television, welcome to a brand new Sky.
Love Match, the ideal way to meet a new partner. Dial 0891 55 56 57.
Oh, yeah. Which one's your mum? Yeah, can you hold that? There you go. Oi, kid, what's this?
Robinson's Anything else just isn't tennis.
2 pieces of new hickory chick barbecue beans and fries.
Yeah.
For a cost of just $2.99.
That's nice.
Where? Today's KFC.
From the Sky Satellite Network, this is Sky Sports.
Shot, you're too close. Effects on 1, mix on 2.
Four now, please.
And cue.
3, 2,
Ready on B.
1, 0.
Sharp on target again. United stay on top. Birthday boy Cascarino fires Chelsea in front, but Spurs fight back. And light at the end of the tunnel for Luton's Darren Salton. And good evening to you. This is the soccer news at 10 o'clock. I'm Paul Dempsey. The champions Manchester United sit more proudly than ever at the top of the pile this evening. Arsenal are up to second behind them. And in Scotland, the big cup tie tonight has gone to extra time at Ibrox. More on that in just a moment or two. First up, a check on all the results in England, beginning in the top flight at Ewood Park. Blackburn Rovers won, Arsenal won. Kevin Gallagher putting Rovers in front at home there in the first half. Kevin Campbell equalising for the Gunners after the break. At Highfield Road, Coventry City 1, Liverpool 0. Phil Babb with his first ever goal for Coventry City. Liverpool were down to 10 men when Rob Jones was sent off for the first time in his career. Liverpool lost there last season, you may remember as well. Old Trafford, the champions Manchester United 3, West Ham United 0. Lee Sharp with his 4th goal of the campaign. Eric Cantona and then Steve Bruce a couple of minutes from time. No problems for United tonight. Loftus Road, Queen's Park Rangers 2, Sheffield United 1. Trevor Sinclair bought by Jerry Francis from Blackpool and a Clive Wilson penalty for Rangers. Justin Flo had levelled matters in the middle of that game for Sheffield United with his 3rd goal in 3 starts for his new club. Extraordinary story from Hillsborough. Sheffield Wednesday 3, Norwich City 3. Wednesday were cruising to victory, it appeared. 3 up, Chris Bart-Williams, Mark Bright with his 2nd in 2 games and Andy Sinton with his 1st for his new club. But then Norwich started an amazing fight back, led off by Mark Bowen. Efane Koku and Chris Sutton also weighing in with goals. It's finished 3 apiece and Wednesday still wait for their first victory. County ground, Swindon Town 1, Manchester City 3, more woes for Swindon. Even though Nicky Summerby put them in front, City came storming back for their first victory of the campaign. Michael Vonk levelled it, Niall Quinn and Adi Mikey got the insurance goal there. And in the London derby at White Hart Lane, Tottenham Hotspur 1, Chelsea 1. A Terry Sheringham penalty equaliser for Spurs 5 minutes from time after Tony Cascarino fired Chelsea in front. All those confirmed results, and this is what it means at the top of the table tonight. Manchester United now 3 points clear. Arsenal alone in 2nd place. Liverpool slipped to 3rd, and Coventry City and Norwich also going very well. Coventry up to 4th and Norwich just above Aston Villa now into 5th place. Other results tonight like this in Division 1 at the Hawthorns. West Bromwich Albion 2, Southend 2. Bob Taylor with 2 for Albion. Excellent fight back though by Southend here. Brett Angel getting both of them. The 2nd in the 90th minute to protect Southend's unbeaten record. And in Division 2, a couple of results. Brighton 0, Bristol Rovers 2. John Taylor got both of those goals. Brighton still without a victory. And Reading 4, Barnet 1. And that means Barnet are still waiting for a point in their league programme this season. Anglo-Italian Cup, 1 preliminary round fixture tonight. It's ended 2-2 at the New London Stadium. Millwall 2, Charlton Athletic 2. And in Scotland, the big cup tie, they're still playing at Ibrox. Latest Scottish League Cup quarter-final. Rangers, the holders of the League Cup. They lead Aberdeen 2-1. A Mark Hateley penalty in the 1st minute. Joe Miller equalised with a penalty for Aberdeen. It went into extra time and Ian Ferguson has restored Rangers' lead. We may have a result before the end of this show. Europe. Preliminary fixtures continuing. Cork City have overcome Cumbraen. It finished Cork 2, Cumbraen 1 in the 2nd leg, a 4-4 aggregate scoreline. Cork get through on away goals, only just. Excellent fight by Cumbraen. Morley and Glynn got 2 late strikes for Cork, who actually trailed on the night there. And at Windsor Park, Linfield 1, Dinamo Tbilisi 1. The Georgians get through 3-2 on aggregate, even though Gary Haylock scored for Linfield. And in the Cup Winners' Cup, we have them here. Bangor go down 3-2 on aggregate to Apoel Nicosia in Cyprus. It finished Apoel Nicosia 2, Bangor 1 on the night. And in Dublin, Shelbourne are through. They beat Karpaty Lvov, the Ukrainians, 3-1. Excellent performance by Shelbourne. Costello, Mooney and Itzy, the scores of those goals. And that sends Shelbourne through 3-2 on aggregate. They'll be thrilled with that result. Manchester United and Leeds, who were found guilty of misconduct after withdrawing players from the England under-18 squad, have been reprimanded by the FA today. Howard Wilkinson and Alex Ferguson, I should say, went to Lancaster Gate yesterday to explain why they pulled players out of the tour party to prevent what they called burnout. The FA reprimand, instead of a possible fine, will probably be seen as a moral victory for the two clubs, who will have to pick up the costs for the hearing. The Coventry City boss Bobby Gould has been charged with misconduct over comments made about officials last week. Gould described the referee and linesman during Coventry's game at Oldham as worse than pathetic. The comments came after Oldham were awarded this controversial penalty. The FA say they'll also be looking into the incident at Portman Road last night involving Kevin Keegan. The Newcastle boss reacted angrily when an Ipswich fan hit Keegan on the back of the head through the dugout. Newcastle United's Lee Clark has pulled out of the England under-21 squad for next Tuesday's international against Poland. Clark was substitute during last night's game at Ipswich. He's suffering from a pulled thigh muscle. It's bad news for Celtic and Scotland. The Parkhead skipper Paul McStay is going to be out of action for the next 3 or 4 weeks. McStay has had an operation on a foot injury today. It means he will certainly miss Scotland's match in the World Cup against Switzerland next week and Celtic's UEFA Cup tie against Young Boys of Bern. After a sluggish start to their season, Aston Villa's victory at Everton last night has put them right up there among the early season pace setters, and it wasn't a bad night in particular for Guy Whittingham.
Aston Villa new boy Whittingham shot to the top of the class after marking his first full appearance with a goal. The 28-year-old striker, who wrote to all the top-flight managers in search of a club, repaid some of the £1.2 million Villa invested in him with the winner at Everton. Newcastle striker Andy Cole continues to make the headlines after his third goal of the campaign. Cole gave the Magpies an early second-half lead when he rounded off a smooth passing movement. But Ipswich hit back to win a point on 77 minutes when Chris Kiwomya netted his first of the season when he capitalised on some slack Newcastle defending. And Wimbledon continued to confound the critics with their second win of the new campaign by disposing of struggling Southampton. Warren Barton hit the only goal of the game to lead the Dons' boss Joe Kinnear, calling for him, Robbie Earle and John Scales to be given an England chance.
Tim Abraham reporting there. One postscript to that match at Goodison Park last night. Aston Villa could be torn off a strip by the FA because of their new kit. Villa's new green and black striped shirts caused more than a few problems. The Villa players, it seems, kept passing to the referee. The FA are looking into the matter, and so one imagines is Ron Atkinson. In the meantime, the new shirts go on sale on Friday. Villa say they've got 4,000 of them on order. An important night for Linfield, as we mentioned earlier on, but some things on this night of international and domestic football put things in perspective. Almost a year ago, the Luton and Scotland under-21 defender Darren Salton was involved in a serious car crash. One woman died in the crash. Salton survived but sustained major injuries. Now he's fighting his way back to full fitness and even hoping to play the game he loves once more.
Darren Salton counts himself lucky to be alive, let alone able to hobble out of the Kenilworth Road tunnel. Last November, he was involved in a head-on car crash. The woman passenger in the other car was killed. Salton lay in a coma for 3 weeks, his right leg shattered and his nose pushed up into his face. But after countless operations, he's fighting for his professional footballing life.
I'd like to play, that's my target, to play again, but if I don't, then you don't. I'd like to play.
And at this moment in time, how optimistic are you?
Yeah, I'm quite optimistic. Like the surgeon I'm dealing with, he says like the leg will be no problem. And the head specialist will see the head's no problem, so that's fine. That's really good. That gives you a bit of confidence as well. Gives you something to look forward to.
Salton has received moving support from his family and friends, and particularly the club, who are supporting his painful attempt to keep fit until the large metal pin which is keeping his leg together is removed.
Grafts were taken from the pelvis to graft into the tibia, and hopefully it will respond. He's had a series of x-rays, and the x-rays are getting better and better and better. So we hopefully now, that'll be repaired. Next month, he's going for another series of x-rays to see the extent of the damage, and hopefully by summer, the nail will be able to be taken out, hopefully.
And how optimistic are you that he'll be able to play again?
Well, I'm quite optimistic on this one. I've spoken to surgeons, and I know the way Darren works, and he's a good worker. He's a grafter, the boy, and I'm quite optimistic. Quite optimistic.
How frustrating has it been for you? Because you're a professional footballer, and that's your life.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden that's been taken away from you.
It was my life, but now it isn't really my life now. It's just your health. As long as you've got your health, you've got everything, haven't you? That's the only thing, really. It's frustrating, but I know I'm going to be out for 18 months, so you just have to accept it and get on with things.
The Luton and Scotland under-21 centre-back harbours dreams of running out as a first-team player. Grateful to be alive anyway, his outlook on life and football has dramatically changed. His courage puts our everyday worries into context.
And good luck to him as he continues that brave fight. News of Darren's team, Luton Town, incidentally. Their game on Saturday at Sunderland has been postponed. Sunderland-Luton this Saturday is postponed in Division 1. The reason, the Sunderland keeper Tony Norman has been drafted into the Welsh squad as cover for Neville Southall, who's struggling with injury. Just before we leave you for now, a quick look ahead to Sky Sports tomorrow. We'll be back at 6 o'clock with the soccer news once more. And then the WWF Wrestling, the SummerSlam special at 6:15. 7 o'clock, US Open Tennis, all the exclusive action from Flushing Meadow, live, Sue Barker and the team there. And at 9 o'clock, Andy Gray in the boot room. I'll be back with the soccer news once more at 10, with all the day's top stories and news then. And then after the second edition of Soccer News, highlights of the Belgian Grand Prix. 11 o'clock, best of British motorsport, and rounding off another excellent day's sporting entertainment here. More live action as we continue to cover the US Open Tennis every day for a fortnight, live from Flushing Meadow. Before I leave you, some headlines in England. It's going extremely well for Manchester United. They've won again. West Ham on the end of a 3-0 defeat at Old Trafford. Manchester United now 3 points clear at the top tonight. Arsenal get a point at Blackburn to go second. Liverpool beaten at Coventry. Coventry City up to fourth. Liverpool also lost Rob Jones, sent off for the first time in his career. Queen's Park Rangers victors. Norwich came from 3 down to get a point at Sheffield Wednesday. Manchester City win at Swindon, and Spurs and Chelsea get a point apiece. In Scotland, I've just heard League Cup quarter-final result. Rangers 2, Aberdeen 1 after extra time. Next up, it's boxing and the ringside special, the WBO World Heavyweight Showdown between Tommy Morrison and Tim Tomaszek. Soccer News comes around again in the morning. Have a lovely evening. Bye for now.
England's World Cup campaign has been a roller coaster ride of elation and disappointment.
Now it just gets better and better for England.
We didn't play that well on an 8.
Can we still qualify?
Oh yes, I mean we can still qualify.
Now it's crunch time. With 3 matches to go, there's nothing more to be said. England must beat Poland in their last home game. Watch the whole match exclusively live next Wednesday at 7 p.m. on Sky Sports.
It's the final whistle.
Have you caught new corn pops? They taste just like crunchy popcorn. They're new from Kellogg's. The great taste of crunchy popcorn. They're from Kellogg's. They're great as part of this nutritious breakfast. Just like crunchy popcorn. You gotta catch new corn pops.
It's ice cream, but it's grown-up ice cream.
Magnum, it's different.
Magnum is a serious ice cream.
I like to eat it slowly. You squeeze with your teeth and then crack.
It's like sliding in between silk sheets.
Best bit's picking the chocolate off.
It's just gorgeous. Reckless. I feel reckless.
I feel guilty, but not that guilty.
I wouldn't share it.
The Comet sale has been extended, but hurry, it must end on Saturday. You know where to come. Without protection, your car is under attack from carbon deposits that increase pollution. Our solution? The Red X range. It helps clear the system, improve performance, and reduce emissions. so you can drive a clean machine.
It's the new Energy Rush Factor 5, 20 banging tracks. The new Energy Rush Factor 5.
A tale of courage, of lost innocence, and bitter truth. A controversial true account.
Do you think with all this firepower we'd be able to waste one measly sniper?
War Story Vietnam, The Last Days, premieres Friday at 8, Sky Movies.
From the Sky Satellite Network, this is Sky Sports.
On ringside, the great white heavyweight hope, Tommy the Duke Morrison, defending his WBO crown, he thought, against Mike Williams. Instead, it turned out to be this man, Tim Tomaszek, getting a chance any fighter would dream of. Later, one of the fiercest men ever to step into the ring, Iran the Blade Barkley, three-time world champion, hungry for more. And what goes through the mind of a young man like Ed Dino Stewart, faced with someone who's learned it all the hard way? We'll also be looking at some bright young prospects here on ringside, tonight in the company of the former IBF World Cruiserweight Champion Glenn McCrory and Frank Maloney, manager of the WBC World Heavyweight Champion Lennox Lewis. Lots for both the lads to get their teeth into in just a moment, but we start tonight with some extremely sad news, a great and premature loss to the world of boxing. Najib Daho, a British and Commonwealth champion who also fought for a world title, killed in a car crash last weekend in his native Morocco at the premature age of 34. Najib was a pro's pro. He neither gave nor asked any quarter in the ring through 60 professional contests and 14 years in the toughest game of all. He featured in two memorable scraps with Pat Cowdell at British level. He also fought for the IBF lightweight world crown and the Commonwealth lightweight title, which he held till 1991. Our deep condolences tonight to his family. Now to our main event on ringside. Tommy the Duke Morrison was expecting to make a first defence of the WBO world crown against Mike Williams. These two once met in a ring scene in Rocky V, the movie. But the events at Kansas City at the weekend stretched the imagination a little too far. It could almost have been comedy if it wasn't quite so serious for the WBO. All week, Williams had been making noises that he was very unhappy about this fight, and he allegedly asked for more money at the last minute. Officially, the word is that he refused to take a drugs test, and he steadfastly refused to go into the ring. But even his own manager, Bob Jordan, has accused Williams of being scared. Matchmaker Bruce Trampler picked out a journeyman pro called Tim Tomaszek, who just happened to be sitting at ringside. Suddenly, the WBO sanctioned him as an opponent for Morrison, and the fight was on. We'll see the action in a moment, but Frank Maloney was out there, and Frank, you witnessed it. What did you make of all that?
I think it was the biggest fiasco I've ever seen in boxing. Just crazy. 1 minute we announced that Morrison's not fighting. I'm leaving the arena, and then I'm called back, and we're told that he's fighting someone that they've dug out of the audience, that was sitting in the audience.
Was there any indication to you before the fight that Williams was really not interested in going into the ring?
Williams' promoter told me they had problems getting into Kansas City, but they got him in on Wednesday, and everyone seemed quite happy that he was in. He was in the same hotel as myself, and that he weighed in, and that he'd left to go to the arena. So everyone was quite confident that Williams was going to fight at this stage.
Glenn, I know you haven't seen it. In fact, we're going to take a look at the action in a few minutes' time, but this is an awful blow to the prestige of the WBO, isn't it?
Terrible. At a very bad time for them when they're getting called names from all angles. But I think it was their own fault. They shouldn't really have sanctioned the fight. It was, I mean, nobody can help if the opponent pulls out. That's happened before, and no doubt will happen again.
but them just picking somebody out, whatever, getting another fighter, another heavyweight, to then step in and and then sanction it for a world title it's a joke, really.
We thought it was only fair, incidentally, to get the WBO version of events, and we have received this statement today from Mark Schechner. He's the WBO Executive Secretary, and this is what he's been saying. The supervisor in charge of the fight was, from a technical standpoint, not authorized to sanction the contest as a world title fight, since with other than a top 10 ranked contender, that's properly the function of the championship committee via recommendation to the executive board. That's the procedure required for an exception to the rules permitting a non-ranked fighter to fight for the title. And he went on, accordingly, the championship committee of the WBO will be meeting within the next 10 days to make its recommendations to the executive board whether the fight will be recorded as a 4-round title victory or a 4-round non-title victory. After that meeting, we'll be happy to field any questions. There are going to be a lot of questions, Frank Maloney. What do you make to that statement?
I mean, as far as I know, a heavyweight champion, every time he steps in the ring, defends his title. There's no such thing as a non-title fight for a world heavyweight champion. And obviously, at the ringside, the commissioner shouldn't have sanctioned the fight. He should have said no and cancelled the show. And maybe Tommy Morrison could have boxed an exhibition in front of his home crowd.
One of the problems, you mentioned the word home crowd there, one of the problems with this event, Kansas City, it's Morrison's backyard, this is him as a world champion, they could have had a difficult situation with the crowd there, couldn't they?
I think the crowd would appreciate it more if Morrison hadn't been got in the ring. Morrison dealt with the situation very well. I mean, at one point he was on Planet A, and 30 minutes before the fight he came down to the floor level. Glenn would know what that means. I mean, he just couldn't lift. It was bad for Kansas City, it was bad for Morrison, and it was really bad for the WBO.
Well, more on the WBO in a second. We also ought to point out, I think, that Bob Arum, in fairness to Bob, went to the public before the fight, this is true, I think you'll agree, Frank, and said, if you don't like what's going to have to happen here, you can have your money back and you can go home. But they all stayed to watch their local hero, didn't they?
No, I think, actually, I'm sure Bob Arum said that Mike Williams refused to fight and that Tommy Morrison wouldn't be boxing, because I actually started to leave the arena. And then all of a sudden I heard a lot of people talking, and the next thing we knew, by some strange coincidence, they found an opponent that was sitting in the arena. So, I mean, it was just crazy. I mean, they made the Wizard of Oz in Kansas City here, but this even beats that.
Allegedly, Tomaszek was given free tickets to attend the fight on the off chance that Williams wasn't going to get into the ring.
If they knew that, they should have had a much better opponent there as a replacement. I mean, if they knew that, they could have got someone a lot better than Tomaszek there. Yeah.
What do you feel, Glenn?
I would feel that Frank's right, that if they thought there was going to be some trouble with Williams, that he may not show up, then they should have had an air-type fighter on standby. I mean, Tomaszek just doesn't fall in that category whatsoever. So it was going to make a joke, So they did it wrong right from the very beginning.
Now, the WBO has had its credibility problems in Britain, certainly, Frank, but on the other hand, Chris Eubank, McMillan, Robinson, these are good fighters fighting under the banner of the WBO. Where does it leave their credibility in this country?
I don't think WBO got any credibility in worldwide. I mean, they're not recognised in America. I mean, the only thing that made the heavyweight scene good, it was George Foreman was fighting. Other than that, I mean, who would consider the WBO world champion? Previously, it was Ray Mercer, and he gave up the fight.
They hope that Tommy the Duke is going to do the same thing for them in the future. Let's see the action such as it was from Kansas City. Tommy the Duke Morrison, believing he was about to make a first defence of his world crown, the crown he won by beating George Foreman, and coming out of the opposite corner, Tim Tomaszek, 28 years of age. He once beat Morrison's elder brother Tim, incidentally. 34 wins in a 44-fight pro career. This is his biggest test by a long, long way. Our commentator is Dave Stewart.
That's the belt that earned Tommy Morrison credit and respect in the world of boxing. The WBO title, which he earned in June with a 12-round unanimous decision over George Foreman in Las Vegas, Nevada. And tonight, Morrison will defend his title for the very first time. Tommy considers himself an active heavyweight, wants to keep busy, has a March fight with Lennox Lewis set up, where each fighter guaranteed over $7 million. Morrison plans to fight end of October, end of December, wants to stay busy. And his entourage has arrived in Brown, Tom Burgess, his trainer, Doug Drager, assistant trainer, and the crowd responds for Tommy the Duke Morrison. He grew up the tough way in Jay, Oklahoma. As a teen, lied about his age to fight in tough man contests, often fighting people twice his age. Not uncommon for Tommy to fight 5 times in one day to get to the finals, earn a paycheck, come home, present it to his parents so they could eat them.
In association with the undisputed, undefeated king of beers, Budweiser. Proud to be your bud. Present the featured bout of the evening. This bout is sanctioned by the State of Missouri Office of Athletics, the Honorable Mel Carnahan, Governor, Division Director Randy Singer, Executive Director Helen Kohler, Administrative Inspector Jim Hall, Supervisor ringside for the World Boxing Organization Alberto Aleman of Panama, Timekeeper Ruth McCullough, counting with the knockdowns Skip Washam,
Tim Tomaszek, the late fill-in, as a challenger for Tommy Morrison with a record of 35-10, 11 KOs. Tommy Morrison with a mark of 36-1. That one defeat to Ray Mercer as he fought for the WBO title October 18th, 1991. Michael Buffer, we are just about ready. His trademark call as this heavyweight bout is nearing the beginning.
Of the action will be Steve Campbell. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the blue trunks with red trim, weighing in at 205 pounds, fighting out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. His professional record, 35-10. Tonight, he's ready for his Cinderella shot at this world title. Let's welcome the challenger, Tim the Doughboy Tomaszek. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black trunks with stars and bars trim in red and black. He weighed in at 226 pounds from right here in Kansas City with a pro record of 36-1. 32 of those 36 victories by KO. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the WBO Heavyweight Champion of the World, the Duke Morrison.
Denny Campbell, the referee for tonight's main event, who ruled over the Rogelio Tour junior lightweight match earlier in the program, is back in the ring for the main event with a brand new bloodless shirt. Tommy Morrison weighing in at 226 on Sunday. Not a career high, but near it. Expecting to need the poundage to deal with what was expected to be the challenger, Michael Williams. Instead, it's Tim Tomaszek. In a bout schedule to go 12 rounds, will certainly go much less. As someone from the front row says, Tommy, don't hurt him. He will, and it will be soon. Tomaszek with footwork, dances around, tries to score, and Tommy Morrison is not impressed. Give Tomaszek credit, if nothing else, for being aggressive and really getting a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, fighting out of Green Bay, Wisconsin, and fortunate that a big left hand from Tommy Morrison did not connect. Tommy has a terrific left. He's used it throughout his career. Early in his career, a problem was that Tommy would deliver a blow, then admire it. He would not finish off opponents. Now he's better with combinations, then setting up on defense, then coming back on the attack. A complete fighter. Tommy goes to the left hand. Tomaszek's side does not hold, but takes a left hand to the nose. Tomaszek, maybe not scared to death, but certainly in the biggest fight that he will ever be a part of, in the ring. Getting getting a chance to go around with Tommy Morrison in his first title defense in Kansas City. Morrison's camp had looked forward to a bout with Mike Williams, who they consider to be close in style to Lennox Lewis. The way he approached the fight, his boxing skills, they will not use this to benefit that match set for March. Tommy showing no fear. May not realize where he is yet. And it's likely he had much time mentally to prepare for it. Tommy Morrison again misses with the right. But it's unlikely that Tommy would want to knock him out right away, considering the people that are here to support it. Many traveled to Las Vegas when Tommy won the title, taking George Foreman on and beating him in June in Las Vegas. He wanted to bring a title fight to Kansas City. He has done that against Tim Tomaszek, a fill-in, a fighter from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Morrison's corner people remain silent. No instruction, unlike earlier fights tonight, where it was essential for the managers to get information. And Tommy delivers a blow after the bell. Tomaszek and steps backward in. And a victory for Tim Tomaszek in the fact that he is still alive and fighting after round one, and the crowd responds. A gutty performance tonight, no matter how it ends up for Tim Tomaszek, who was a very late fill-in. With Mike Williams not going tonight. Tommy Morrison was discovered, if you will, by John Brown, his manager. John took him under a wing. Discovered him in Golden Gloves fighting. Tommy did not qualify for the Olympics, losing in the qualifications to Ray Mercer. Again, they met the first time for the WWF title, which Mercer won October of 1991. They've been a team ever since, joined by Bill Hayden as a co-manager in 1989.
That's good work.
And Tomaszek is clearly enjoying this opportunity. He knows what the outcome will be, yet he's going to get his money's worth. Whatever that might be, he will enjoy every minute. And Tomaszek, who is not taking it lightly yet, he is going to have fun with this. And he is. Early in round two, Tommy Morrison is just measuring him, waiting. It would seem at any time Morrison would be able to put him away. Morrison in terrific shape, 226. Tommy Morrison, according to Tommy Jets, his trainer, Tommy doesn't know how good that he can be. Mental focus has been a problem at times. In fact, 3 weeks ago, Jets threatened to cancel his fight tonight unless Tommy got his act together, and he told me before the fight, the past 4 days, his training has been outstanding. Things are becoming more instinctive. Tommy wants to stay active to be fight ready for Lennox Lewis in March. And Denny Campbell, a referee, steps in and gives Tim Tomaszek a slap. Tomaszek midway through round two and still on his feet. Still hanging in.
Hands up, Frank.
Tommy may have gotten better work in sparring in preparation for this fight.
Stop.
But he's dealing with the situation, which is a fill-in Tim Tomaszek from Green Bay, Wisconsin. A professional fighter. It's sanctioned by the WBO. It is a heavyweight title defense. And Tommy Morrison with good quickness. Amazing combination of size and speed with a terrific left hand. Going to combinations more as his career develops.
We go and work in there now. Step back. We'll take a sprint. That's it. Work at it.
Big blows tonight, just off target.
Work at it. Take on.
Yet if one lands, the end will be here.
Working there. Hands up, Frank. Hands up, Frank.
Tomaszek, who physically is not impressive, yet his courage is. fighting one-handed for a moment as he goes up. Tommy with the right hand and hooks momentarily. Again, Morrison's corner is silent. Doug Draggart, John Brown, Tom Rejects. Not much to say. This is not the fight they trained for.
10 seconds, work at it.
As the second round nears an end. Tomaszek raising his hand as if to congratulate Tommy on scoring, and he takes another blow. And a victory for Tim Tomaszek in the fact, again, that he is still in this fight.
Inswell occur.
As long as Tommy Morrison decides that he can be a part of it.
Timmy.
You're watching Sky Sports.
This is Carl Banks. His career has been plagued with injury after injury after injury. However, none of them were his. Carl Banks, linebacker, only wears pony.
Morrison plans to fight again in late October, late December, as tune-up bouts for his Lennox Lewis springtime fight. Word today, the October fight could happen in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is not too far from Jay, Oklahoma, where Tommy, in fact, grew up.
Seconds out, let's go.
He considers this his hometown now.
Good fight, keep it up, good.
But Jay, Oklahoma, where Tommy was raised and his mother still lives. And Tomaszek with a smile on his face and damage above his left eye as Tommy Morrison has pecked away through the first two rounds.
Step back, guys.
Inflicted damage, taken none that we can detect. Early third round, and Morrison goes to the head again. Tomaszek.
No, step back.
With a chokehold. And Denny Campbell wants none of that. It is a championship fight. And there will be none of that. Tommy.
Now inside work.
Defensing nice, in good position. Inside, and he goes left, and to the head.
Working it now. There goes. Get back and work. Pick him up over there.
Tommy with quickness and power. A rare combination, and he's young. He's only 24 years old. The one thing that holds him back, perhaps, is the fact that he is 24 years old with great skill.
Break out.
Maturity is a problem for anyone that age with that much money and status, and it's difficult to maintain a level head. Tommy Morrison is with that now, but doing so nicely. Fighting in the third round of a fight scheduled to go 12, it will not, with Tim Tomaszek. The opposition, a very late killer, as we're beyond the halfway point of round 3. Tommy said on Sunday he would sleep like a baby last night because no stone had been left unturned. He had trained the way that he needed to train to beat Mike Williams. Tonight the strategy will still serve him well and the conditioning for his next fight. He does not train in Kansas City most of the time. Virginia Military Institute is where he and trainer Doug Draggart and Tom and he's focused at the moment, but holding back clearly on Tim Tomaszek. Tommy with the quickness works on the head, now the middle, and Tomaszek's left cheek is reddening.
Break out,
uses that right hand, and the left is where he's put so many fighters away with 32 pro knockouts. Left hook comes quickly,
Working on now. Step it. Bring out there.
Nearing the end of round number 3. Again, Morrison's corner has remained silent throughout this fight. And the crowd has seen about enough of Tommy having mercy on the challenger. They may be ready for Morrison to show the skills that have made him the World Boxing Organization heavyweight champion. Tom Burjett's talking to his fighter calmly.
Every punch has a starting place and a finish.
Vaseline applied under the eye with little, if any, damage taken by Tommy Morrison, who's fought several times this year. Beating Carl the Truth Williams, Dan Murphy here in Kansas City, George Foreman, of course, in Las Vegas. But a good barometer of Morrison's fighting courage came last June when, with a broken hip, he went 9 rounds with Joe Hip before winning by technical knockouts. Again, we are underway. Round 4 with Tommy keeping it close to the vest, at least at the beginning.
Break out of him. Stop. Break out of there.
With his hands in, occasionally throwing a punch at Tomaszek, who gets the Purple Heart or Gold Star today for courage, coming out and taking on the Duke. Clearly, Morrison, if he had a game plan for Mike Williams, and he did, it would not be the same way tonight, although Morrison planned to go back to his straight-ahead attacking style, which has carried him throughout his career. He altered from that in the title win over George Foreman as he played basically hit him up. Morrison would score, then back away, get away quickly. And there's that left hand in the body that Morrison is famous for.
Stop! Break out of there! Break out of there!
He's only 24. Tomaszek continues to talk and enjoy himself. And the crowd showed some displeasure with that into round 3.
Break out of there!
Slapped away by the referee, Denny Campbell, for holding. And like the other rounds, Tommy's corner people remain silent. There is no instruction with their fighter calling his own shots. Tommy with a good combination. Tomaszek is phased, and there's the left hand, and the ropes kept him up. Morrison with another one. A right misses, but Tomaszek knows if he gets the defensive guard down, he will be in trouble. Inside a minute to go. Round number 4. Tommy Morrison, Tim Tomaszek from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Morrison, a hometown boy, defending his title here for the first time.
Hands are free, Bill. Hands are free.
The unification bout is something Tommy wants to be a part of. He will fight Lennox Lewis, barring something bad happening between now and March, at fight in Las Vegas, Nevada. And Tommy scores with the left hand, and he scores with the left hand, and Tomaszek is down. Tomaszek is down and quickly gets back up, but he discovered the power and quickness of Tommy Morrison. Denny Campbell gives him a look, brings him back together, and Tommy could end it any time. Morrison, who has not been hurt throughout this fight, but he will go to round 5, and Tomaszek may have been confused going to Tommy's round to his corner.
I tell you what, the
then does a U-turn and goes back the other
here,
way.
and you're getting closed up over here. I'm okay. I'm going to have to stop. Had enough. That's it. That's it.
And quite frankly, this fight has gone longer than I think anyone would have anticipated.
You've done great. You really have, but I tell you what,
Although no question, Tommy Morrison with a 12-round limit could keep going, and that's it. Tomaszek's corner has waved it off. They have had enough, sensing that at any time Tommy Morrison could hurt the challenger from Green Bay, Wisconsin. and the crowd isn't crazy about it, but it's the way that it should be as fans begin to throw cups and ice into the ring, showing their displeasure for the way this evening has gone. It changed dramatically an hour and 40 minutes ago. Now a cup of water and ice hits Tommy Morrison, and he is disgusted. Tommy Morrison is one of the up-and-comers. He is age 24. He is now 38-1 as a fighter, winning for the 33rd time by knockout. And the only thing limiting Tommy Morrison, according to his people, his managers, his trainers, is Tommy Morrison. The only thing that can hold him back is Tommy Morrison. He is gifted. At times, he is extremely focused. And look at the power. Tomaszek was in trouble. Tommy scored at will. The combination, left and right, back to the left, which put him down. And Morrison is as good with that left jab as anybody fighting today. In the past, his problem was delivering a blow, then admiring it, not going for the knockout. That time, Tommy, with a barrage of punches to put Tomaszek down on the count, down on the canvas. And clearly, in the best interest of everyone here, the fight will stop as we go to the ring announcer, Michael Buffalo, who makes it official.
Now at the end of the 4th round, the winner by TKO, retaining his WBO title, still heavyweight champion from Kansas City, Tommy the Duke Morrison.
Well, a sort of a hometown success, I guess we could call it, but what did you make of it, Glenn McCrory?
Well, I think you couldn't really blame the fighters. Obviously, they're just in there. The fight shouldn't have took place in the first. I think we all agree about that. But at least they try to make a fight of it. It must be obviously very hard for Morrison, who's built up for a big fight and then's got to have an opponent like that. So that's a big letdown. And obviously, it's trying to psych yourself for that type of opponent. It makes it difficult. Tomaszek went in there the very last minute and tried to make a fight of it. And he looked generally disappointed and upset at being pulled out. I think he was enjoying it. And his pride was at stake, and he had a go. Again, we can't say it was any problem for Morrison. I think he finished it when he wanted to, but we can't really blame them.
You got a wet suit out of all that, didn't you? You got soaked, Frank Maloney, at ringside.
Yeah, paper cups, ice, water and beer was slung. It was crazy. I mean, the loser on the night was boxing overall. It was just very bad for boxing.
So we've got to try and put it behind us and hope that Morrison can go on to restore some credibility now with his performances, which are in line to take him into a meeting with Lennox Lewis. Yeah, what's the latest on that first?
Well, we've got contracts signed to fight Morrison on March the 5th at the opening of the MGM Grand, the new hotel. They were actually there at the fight, and let me tell you, they were very disappointed. I mean, it done nothing for their marketability of the Lewis versus Morrison.
You want to make that in Vegas, is that right?
Yes, the fight is made for Vegas. But, they were very disappointed, the directors of the MGM Grand. I think they had a meeting with Morrison's managers and Bob Arum straight after the fight.
But as Glenn suggested, Morrison can only get rid of the guy put in front of him, and he did that. What do you make of him as a fighter and a potential opponent for your man?
I think he's a good opponent for Lennox Lewis, but I mean, he should have got rid of the guy in the first round. I believe he carried the guy, was what we were told from his dressing room, but he shouldn't have done it. He should have taken him out in the first round and just ended everyone's misery.
It's understandable, though, for a hometown crowd and all that he's going to give him a bit of a show, isn't it?
Yeah, but it wasn't even a show, was it? I mean, it was just pitter-patter until he decided to open up, and that was it. And the crowd, they paid like $200 a seat in there. I mean, no wonder they were disappointed and started throwing things at people.
There is another reason that you're here, of course. We're now just about 4 weeks away from possibly the biggest fight ever staged in Britain, Lewis versus Bruno. How is Lennox?
Yeah, he's in great shape. I was with him on Sunday at training camp before going down to the Morrison fight. He's fantastic. If Frank Bruno's watching this and he thinks Lennox is underestimating him, he's not. Lennox is focused. I've never seen him focused before.
One thing about Frank, though, can I put this to you? I personally suspect that you're deliberately underestimating Bruno's record. The fact is, Frank, he's been in against Witherspoon and Tyson, and it wasn't quite a peak Tyson, but it was still a good Tyson, and fought for the world crown twice. You could run the risk of underestimating him, couldn't you?
We're not underestimating him. He fought Tim Witherspoon, who wasn't 100% fit, and Frank put up a great show. But as soon as Frank gets hit on the chin, his whole body goes to pieces. And Lennox Lewis will not only hit him on the chin, he will plaster him with them jabs. And Frank has to start worrying. When he gets hit, he's going to be worried about the jab landing in his eye. He's going to think of Gary Mason. It's all going to come flashing back to him. And, the question has to be asked with Frank Bruno is, when it gets very hot in there, can he stand the heat? I don't think he can.
How are the ticket sales going?
They're going very well, and quite to what everyone's been spreading rumours about the fight, the tickets are actually printed, they're on sale, and people should be receiving their tickets this week. And the fight will definitely happen at Cardiff on October the 1st.
As you probably know, Lewis Bruno is live on Sky Sports also, since Frank didn't mention that. But if you are interested in being there, we will be in a position to help you. Coach services are available departing from a total of 120 destinations all over the country. You can find out more information by calling this number, 0487 843333, or see Skytext, page 336. Just make a note of the number, 0487 843 333, and it will probably end up being a lot easier to get there to Cardiff than you may have feared. After this break, your chance to win a ringside seat for that great fight, first-class travel thrown in for the venue, 4-star hotel accommodation, and an invitation to the celebrity dinner, a prize well worth winning. So stick around. Frank Maloney's a rather busy man. He has to get off about his business now. Frank, thanks very much for being with us tonight. Glenn McCrory's going to stick around with me. Our fight competition comes next. We're also going to be boxing clever, remembering famous men and ring events from years gone by, and more ring action featuring a 3-time world champion, Iran the Blade Barkley.
You're watching Sky Sports.
In years to come, people will ask, where were you the night Lewis fought Bruno? Lennox Lewis, WBC heavyweight champion of the world. Frank Bruno, the #1 contender. On October the 1st, the time for talking will be over. The question must be answered. Become a part of sports history as it happens. Lewis Bruno, live only on Sky Sports.
Annual Achiever Award. Who'd have thought it a year ago? You see, I've been at NatWest for 20 years, quite happy when, I don't know, I started to feel that perhaps I needed something new, a change. Then someone suggested moving into pensions and life. Well, at first the training was hard, I'll admit. A bit like being back at school. At my age. But I passed with flying colours, so to speak, and I was out on the road. And then, do you know what really stood me in good stead? It was my 20 years at the bank. I knew about people, you see. That's what I do now, really. Go out, meet people, sort out their problems. I've never looked back. How NatWest changed my life. Never looked back. You could use that in one of your advertisements. Never looked back.
Ah, Tony. The egg mayonnaise?
It's off, madam.
The bolognese?
That's off too, madam.
What about the gravy? The salad dressing? The red wine? All off. It's a different jacket.
No, a different detergent.
Persil Micro Liquid should always be on the menu. Because it has a double cleaning action, it can tackle more than one kind of stain. It combines an action on fat and an action on these other stains, all in one wash.
Now, what would you like?
The Deversol, please.
Persil Micro Liquid tackles fat and a whole load more.
At Rover Dealers, we don't believe our job ends with the sale of a car. We believe that's where it begins.
Well, good morning, Posty. Thank you. You know, you ought to relax a while. Here, see how the thick Cadbury's milk chocolate melts into the dreamy caramel. I love birthdays, don't you? Take it easy with Cadbury's Caramel.
While some companies make you special offers from time to time, at B&Q, key DIY in the products you buy most regularly means low prices when you want them. That's all the time, every day. Key DIY at B&Q.
Lots still to come on ringside in the company of my guest, Glenn McCrory, the former IBF World Cruiserweight Champion. Your chance to win a fabulous package, including a ticket for the Lewis-Bruno fight, coming in just a moment. But first, let's salute heroes of years gone by in our first Box Clever. Thems was fighters, and I wonder what they're thinking if they could watch down and see that WBO World Heavyweight title fight we saw before the break. Now they're your chance to win a trip to see the great event of this year, or indeed many other years, the WBC World Heavyweight title showdown between Lennox Lewis and Frank Bruno. A ringside ticket and a fabulous accommodation package can be yours if you can answer this question. Lewis and Bruno have both been the European Heavyweight champion, but who did they beat? Again, the opponents. Who were they as Lewis and Bruno lifted the European crown? Answers in by 15th of September, please, to this address. It's Sky Sports, PO Box 6, Grant Way, Isleworth, Middlesex, TW7 5QQ. Once again, PO Box 6, Grant Way, Isleworth, Middlesex, TW7 5QQ. By September the 15th, please. And as runner-up prizes, we will be offering gloves signed by Lennox Lewis himself. Good luck to you. Now for somebody who knows all about winning world titles, Iran the Blade Barkley, formerly a champion at 3 weights at world level, and Glenn McCrory, we just keep wondering why he keeps coming back for more. An extraordinary record, hasn't he?
That's right. I think he's a guy who just loves fighting, a ferocious character who's been involved in some great fights. Remember the one with Duran, a very tough fight, the fights with Hearns. He's been around a long time, but always been in some great fights.
He's also managed to defy all logic. Remember him coming back late in his career to become IBF Super Middleweight World Champion against Darren Van Horn. He's surprised us so often, hasn't he?
That's right, and also he's got problems with his eyes, you know, so what makes a man still want to go in? You know, I just think he loves to fight. He's a ferocious guy, and I think if he wasn't in the ring, he'd be prowling around the way he does somewhere else, so I think it's safer having him in the ring.
He's certainly taken some punishment as well. Nigel Benn dispensed with him in 1 round.
That's right, he's had his ups and his downs, but you know, basically he's a good, strong fighter who will give his best all the time.
You'd identify with the weight problems that he obviously has to live with, adding and shedding weight to fight at Euro weight, cruiserweight. That's
right, he's up at cruiserweight now. I think he's probably going up a little bit too far, but he'll always give you know, a good deal of the fights trouble because he's very fast and he does have immense power. So even in the cruiserweights, he could still trouble, you know, a good deal of the fighters.
Let's see how Iran the Blade does get on at cruiserweight now. The big question, can Barkley possibly cope with the big hitters in the top weight divisions? He may well be 33, but the appetite, as Glenn suggests, shows no sign of dulling so far. Here he is up against a tough man who's mainly fought at light heavyweight, Ed Dino Stewart. British fight fans may well remember that he fought Henry Wharton and gave him a very tough time back in 1990. Let's get to the action. Dave Stewart's our commentator.
Fighting out of the red corner, wearing the red, white, and blue stars and stripes, weighing in at 191 1/2 pounds, fighting out of Muncie, Indiana. He brings a professional record of 24 victories against 12 defeats with 1 draw, 13 KOs. Introducing Dino Stewart. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the gold trunks with red trim, weighing in at 208 pounds, from the streets of the South Bronx in the Big Apple, New York. This 3-time title holder has a professional record of 30 victories against 8 defeats with 18 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the former 3-time champion of the world, Iran, the Blade Barkley.
We'll take a look at the Missouri rules that will be in effect tonight. The 3 knockdown rule will be going. The standing 8 count, only the referee can stop the fight. 10-point must scoring. 3 judges score the fight, and the fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round. This one, a cruiserweight bout, is set for 10 rounds. Iran the Blade Barkley taking on Dino Stewart in the coming out party of Barkley, a 3-time former world champion who returns to the ring after months away. Last fought and lost in February. He is back at the end of August as a cruiserweight at a healthy 208. And the bell begins round 1. Barkley, who has fought some of the best fighters in the world, but at lower classes. And what we will watch throughout the fight is the fact that he is carrying the extra weight and determine how that impacts his speed and quickness. First pro bout of Iran Barkley, he fought at 158. Now 50 pounds later, he's a cruiserweight. Dino Stewart out of Muncie, Indiana, with a record of 24-12, and Barkley tries to work the body. His cornerman right in front of us. Barkley, gold trunks, red, white, and blue, worn tonight by Dino Stewart. Barkley early trying to work the body, unable to sneak in a left hand as the fighters lock up inside. Barkley quickly with the left, works the body with the right. No question, a dramatic contrast between bodies comparing Dino Stewart and Iran the Blade Barkley. We are midway through round 1, a cruiserweight bout scheduled for 10 rounds here in Kansas City. Between Barkley, a 3-time world champion, now fighting at cruiserweight, taking on Dino Stewart. Barkley again with a left to the body, a shot that he's gone